Nikolai is one of my favorite people in the world. He speaks 11 languages. He's a great singer. He's an opera singer. How many remember the album the WWE put out?
Yeah!
He sang Panamia, I Made You Want to Die. Sing it, Nikolai. Wait, let's get the microphone. We need the mic. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now introduce the great Nikolai Volkoff singing a cappella, Panamia.
Actually, I forgot the words about the Bible. It's not working.
It's working.
Panamia, when we say goodbye, each time we part, we all want to die. Panamia, fair, Medomale. I don't know the rest. I have 10 minutes to learn it and sing it. That was 10 minutes to learn the song and sing it. And I won the Slammy Award, and I still have a trophy home. It was a beautiful trophy. It was a cast iron trophy, and of course, lots of money to make it. And I still have a lot of guys like Roddy Piper got one too, and he broke his. You know, Roddy's running, and Roddy's Canadian too. Nice guy.
I noticed we only have one child in the group. Everybody else is an adult. Is this true? How old are you? Come up here, be a volunteer.
There's one here.
Another one? Come on up.
Another one. Oh, we cannot tell the joke then. Okay, thank God she is not here.
What's amazing to me is the girl is so pretty, and the boy is pretty handsome. Get together. And here's the question. Name something that is pink and fluffy.
All right.
What?
Come in your mind, come on.
What is pink and fluffy?
Cotton candy.
That's good too, but it's not what I had. The correct answer is pink fluff. Okay, now we can't do anything D-I-R-T-Y because of its C-H-I-L-D-R-E-M.
What's that?
But if we could do something like that, Nikolai imparted to me some wisdom that's going to change my life forever. How many would like to hear it? Okay. What is it the mouse say, tongue said?
Oh God, you gotta say it with the kids here.
There you go, man. Now we got to
Cover those ears.
All right.
In the Moscow University, they have a meeting talking about philosophy, and they invite Mao Zedong, and they ask him, "What is your view about philosophy?" He said, "Everything is shit except this."
This has changed my life already.
And I was probably 10 years old when I heard that.
Now, we're going to ask the audience to give us questions, okay? And we're going to just share it, and we're going to have fun because, okay, Iron Sheik isn't here. You stupid jabroni. But we're going to have fun anyway, right? We're going to make do. Give me a question. Yes.
Two-part question.
Okay, part A.
First part, who is your favorite person to wrestle?
Okay. My favorite person to wrestle is Bruno Sammartino. Because Bruno Sammartino, in my opinion, and many other opinions, is one of the best wrestlers I ever lived. And second best wrestler I ever lived, it was Lanny Poffo brother, Macho Man. And his father, Poffo, he holds the world record in sit-ups. He did, 6,000 sit-ups in how long? 4 hours?
4 hours and 10 minutes.
4 hours, 10 minutes, yeah. Nobody ever broke that in today, I think so. Today might broke it, but they cheated for the rest.
Yeah, certain type of thing, you know that deal.
Yeah. But anyway, and I met Lanny Poffo father a long time ago. He was a very nice man, and he was still wrestling then, and I have met with him, talked to him, and I finally he speak Italian. At that time I couldn't speak English, so he was the only person in the restaurant to speak good. And it was very nice. And then right now, I've been doing lots of this show, and I play in Baltimore on College Stadium. I play celebrity baseball, and my team was manager was no Cal
Cal Ripken?
no, yeah, he was there too. But our manager was a little guy that used to run and steal the place for Baltimore. But anyway, he comes here and I say, I have a good news and bad news. What do you like to hear first? He said, give me the good news. I say, I never lost a baseball game. See, what's the bad news? I said, I never played a baseball game. So he said, you're going to be a catcher. Actually, my team won. We beat Flacco, he was another team. Flacco, the catcher for, quarterback for, he was another team. We beat him. And he told me, him and his brother, he's a kid, they used to grow watching me, and they one pretend to be Hogan, another pretend to be me, they beat up each other, so they might have to stop and do it. And Andy Moore, Andy Moore.
Tony Altamore?
Oh my God. Tony Altamore is a and Lou Albano, there was that time taking partners in New York a long time ago, even before I came. And I came, there was still kind of retiring, so Lou Albano became a manager. Tony too, but Steve was wrestling once, so if somebody was missing, they would wrestle. They called them Sicilians. And Lou Albano played tough, bad guy, but he had a very, very big stomach. And Tony was mean. Yeah. And Tony was a funny guy, but sometimes mean to Lou Albano. He said, Lou, you saw the cook in the kitchen? All the stuff, snot was coming out his nose. And poor Lou would go up all the food. And then Tony would go in the restaurant and tell the cook how good food is and how it's beautiful dinner, you know, he would put over everybody, and they walk out without pay. But you have to know Tony to appreciate it.
Used to beat the check, yeah.
Yeah, he's a bit of check, you know that. Yeah. And one time he took us to a restaurant. Okay, guys, meal is on me. And I said, are you sure, Tony? He said, yes, yes. So we go in, we order food, we get out. Tony pick up our check, go over to the cashier, and bought chewing gum for 10 cents. I walk out to the car. He said, here's your check. The check I took care of. Well, you have to know the guy. Here we go. It's same, him do the same thing, 2-3 times, same place. Never get caught. Never get caught. It was that funny.
And what's amazing is, after all that beating the check, he died broke. So good. Taboo. Okay, I'd like to do a little poem for my father. He died March the 4th, 2010. It was back in 1945 on Independence Day that Nazis had surrendered. Japan was on its way. My dad was in the Navy, as history will tell. As he was bleeding through the mats, a world record fell. He did 6,000 sit-ups with an extra 33 to glorify his Savior who died on Calvary. And Robert Ripley's feature celebrated his event, giving credence to success is not an accident. It's always been his motto through times both good and bad. He's a real Hall of Famer and the world's greatest dad.
When I was finishing school in Russia, finished high school, and then KGB came to our class, not to our, everybody class, and they tested all the kids who can become KGB agents. It was a very prestigious job in that time in Russia. And they asked questions, and in my class, I was the only one to pass the test. Now, I'll give you the test. It's a very simple question, very simple answer. In Disney World, murder was committed. They have 5 suspects. Number 1, Santa Claus, Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny. Sad woman, a happy woman. Who's the guilty person?
Happy woman.
Or Buddy.
You heard that one. Anybody?
No, I haven't. I just.
Anybody?
Anybody? Did we get the question? There was a murder in Disney World.
They have 5 suspects.
5 suspects.
Santa Claus, number 1. Bugs Bunny, Mickey Mickey Mouse, sad woman, a happy woman. Who's a guilty person? Huh?
A happy woman.
No.
Sad woman?
Sad woman. Do you know why? All the four don't exist.
Who's got a question for anybody? Yes.
What was the craziest road story you had?
Oh my God.
It's something to do with Irish, with the, Irish.
Oh my God. Iron Sheik.
This poor man had to babysit the Iron Sheik for years.
Because Sheik is a beautiful person. He has a good heart. He give you shirt off his back, as they say. But he was a good athlete, an Olympic champion, and he was a bodyguard for the Shah of Iran, And when he came to the United States, he came with the rock company and became, I guess, party man. He liked to drink, liked to party, and everything else. And so it was so bad, yeah. He called it gimmick or medicine. It was so bad that the WWF that time they have to test, they call it piss test, for drugs. So I had to pee for them all the time. And one time I was.
You want to fill this up here?
I was on 7-day beet juice, diet. So my pee was red. So I couldn't pee because they want to kill me. So this began one time come to Sheik, said, Sheik, this is true story. Sheik, your piss test come positive. Sheik said, oh, excellent, thank you very much. Then said, Sheik, positive means you've been a bad boy, you were snuffing cocaine, you were smoking marijuana. Oh, Mr. McMahon, only had one short line last night, just to be sociable. All the tough guys. And we start laughing, they get away with it. Otherwise you'll be fired. That's a true story. And one time, because I never drink and I don't smoke because I quit smoking actually when I was 14 years old. And if somebody would smoke, it would give me a headache. I couldn't stand it. So we was in Newfoundland. I was coming to Toronto, and I have a Maple Leaf Garden match with Hulk Hogan. So I told Sheik, tonight I will stay by myself. He will close the later. And I like to stay by myself because I have to be ready for the match. We have a trip, we party all night, I like to go sleep. And he said, okay. So I go sleep. He wake 1 o'clock in the morning, knock on my door. Oh, Nikolai, the room's sold out. No place for Sheik. I said, okay, Sheik, I open up your bed. Here's the key. You go to the bar. When you come back, just don't wake me up. All right? I said, okay, she's gone. About 3:30 o'clock in the morning, I heard next door a little baby screaming like somebody killed me. They wake me up. So I get up, try to get up in the chair, and I feel dizzy, fall down the bed again. I said, my God, what's wrong? I don't have a heart attack. I was really scared, honestly. And I go to the nightstand, try to turn the lights on, and I turn the lights on, and I know what was wrong. There was Sheik with all the guys there, with the, I shouldn't mention name, I guess.
Go ahead.
Piper, Adonis, Greg Valentine, they were smoking marijuana. I was high as a kite. Man, so I got mad. I said, Sheik, you're stupid. And I called him I said, you guys, I'm not doing this stuff. Why not go somewhere else? Or go Piper's room, go Adonis' room, Why are you doing here? Oh, Nikolai, I just try to be sociable. You was sleeping, we don't bother you. And somebody knocked on the door. I got mad. I said, whoever it is, I said, forget it, come in the room, party is over, I want to get some sleep. He's opened up county money, police. So I go and open the door, man, it was a county money. So I shut the door right behind me, thank God I was in my underwear. And he said, My God, the smell will knock me out. As officer, you're not gonna believe this. I don't drink, I don't smoke. He said, I'm not here for you guys. The next door room, I heard a little baby crying. He said, we are here because guy next room, he got freaked up on a crack and bit his little baby ears off. Yeah. And the police come, take him to the jail, and his girlfriend come, no, it was her fault. So they let them out. I said, what happened? Said she never told me she was pregnant.
Oh, man.
That's gruesome. Who's got another question?
But the story is true.
Sorry, I was wondering, Lanny, you say amazing poetry. Do you have to write down your poetry first, and does it
No.
just come out, or you memorize all your poems? How does it? How do you do it?
Okay, thank you for saying that. I appreciate the compliment.
Yeah.
I've written 2 books, and one is Wrestling with Rhyme. The other is Limericks from the Heart and Lungs. The second one had nothing to do with wrestling. Just limericks that I think people shouldn't smoke. So start them young. My daughter is 31 years old. She doesn't smoke. I'm divorced. I'm doing much better than O.J. Simpson. As far as, and at least we have something to be proud of, a non-smoking daughter. Because in the fork of the road, the people that smoke are 5 times more likely to suffer the nightmares of youth, which are bad grades, dropping out of school, drinking and smoking, teenage pregnancy, teenage suicide. Not that the statistic is the law of averages completely, but there's a generality, and if you don't smoke, you'll also stand up to peer pressure. So, a Canadian smoker named Faye smoked more than a pack every day. I asked her how come. She replied, "'Cause I'm dumb." I guess that's a good answer, eh? A cigarette smoker from Queens had dreamt about nice limousines. For better or worse, he wound up in a hearse when his family unplugged the machines. For the children here, absorbent and yellow is he, in his pineapple under the sea. The ocean's too wet for a lit cigarette, so SpongeBob is happy, smoke-free. If smoking is cool as they claim, then why is it always the same? The first time you try, you wish you could die. The last time, achieving your aim. An Australian smoker from Perth, I can't remember that one, I'm sorry. I got my start in the men's room of the Howard Johnson in Newark, New Jersey, and that was an off-the-wall comment, but things grew up from there. And my 5th grade teacher, I had a crush on her, and she says, "Lanny, the paper you wrote was just wonderful." And we're still friends today, and I'm friends with her grandchildren and everything. So, and I dedicated my first book to her. And unfortunately, I didn't bring it. But thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. And you know, I'm looking at that Boston Red Sox hat. And a man came up to me in Miami, 1993, and offered me $1,000 to write a poem for Ted Williams. Are you familiar? Who knows the name Ted Williams? Wow, that's pretty great. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
Through all of the magnificence that is Joe Robbie Stadium, the Marlins and the Dolphins' happy home, it gives me pride to introduce a man who was to baseball what Romulus and Remus were to Rome. Take 95 until you hit the Massachusetts Turnpike. Get off at Fenway Park and there you are, where back in 1941, this man hit 406. And even now, Ted Williams has no power. America anticipated every turn at bat to watch him knock the ball to smithereens. 521 home runs, or even more incredible, because he gave 5 years to the Marines. The boys who wrote the sports page never did him any favors, but for Cooperstown they had to tell the truth, that Theodore Samuel Williams brought a splendor to the game, reminiscent of the late George Herman Ruth. And he grabs me and hugs me and he starts crying and he says, "If I'd have had you for a press agent, I'd have never had any problems." I said, "Yes, we didn't have these babies back then," and I'm sorry, you know, because he was on my flight and he was going back to Tampa, and I called my mommy on the payphone and I said, "Make sure that my father or anybody else that wants to meet Ted Williams is at the carousel, because he's checked luggage." And I don't have a picture of it. I'd love to show you a picture of it.
as you were acting so flamboyantly, if you had to explain to people what was going on and how you would do it without breaking business code.
Okay, I had been given a month off. I was growing my hair out and getting a beard, you know, and I was working on. Look at Nikolai. Look at me. See, he was a 310 pounder that wasn't fat. I'm a tall string bean. I just didn't look the part. I'm not mean looking like the Macho Man. I had to do something. So I was married at the time, and I was practicing the walk. So I was going, you know, I was. So my wife, wonderful woman. I have a painting of O.J. Simpson on my wall, but no. Okay. No, we're doing. Okay, my wife says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Practicing my walk." She says, "You have the guts to walk to the ring like that?" I said, "I don't have the guts not to." I said, "I'm not big. I'm not scary looking. I better do something." Because, you know, there's a lot of great talent here. And I'm going to just get lost in the shuffle just like I did when I was leaving Lanny. So, Hulk Hogan, who some people don't like, I happen to love, he says, "Lanny, I want to talk to you." He says, "You're wrestling like a fag out there." I said, "You want me to quit?" He says, "No, I don't want you to quit. It's getting over. I want you to do it more. I've got an idea." And I said, "Let me see." I told him, "Oh, what do you know? You're nothing." No, I said, maybe that's the wrong answer. He said, "Do you mind if I mock you?" And I said, "No, I demand that you don't mock me." No, let's see, he's Hulk Hogan, I'm not. Better let him mock me, okay? So next thing you know, I'm on NBC, and I'll tell you what, it's put your ego in at the door. I'm a 21-month jabroni, but I had 4 months drinking from the silver chalice of success. Ask me if it was worth it. You better believe it was. Okay, for Nikolai, I've hogged it enough.
Okay.
I have a question. And it's for both of you guys. What is your favorite Hulk Hogan story from being on the road with him?
Nikolai.
No, not too much. I never was on the road with him. I mean, we was the same building, but he was on different side. I was a bad guy, he was a good guy. So we never traveled together. But he was all right. He was a big guy, impressive guy. And he was a nice person. I like him. But I never had that much, contact with him.
I'll tell you what. How many people saw the induction of the Macho Man into the Hall of Fame? Okay. You know, some people are just never happy, okay? I can't please everybody. Macho Man had his request. I am now the older brother. I outruled the Macho Man. Randy loved not being in the Hall of Fame. Can you understand that? Name 5 Hall of Famers. In baseball, Pete Rose is more famous than all of them, for not being in. But I thought the fans were suffering. Weren't you suffering a little? Yeah. It's like, isn't it just horrible not to have Macho Man in the Hall of Fame? So I told my mom, I said, look, she said, well, Randy didn't, that's not what Randy wanted. And I said, Spock, Star Trek, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. On one hand, you have the Macho Man, and the other hand is the Macho Fan. If it wasn't for the Macho Fan, the Macho Man wouldn't exist. Without demand, there is no supply, right? So, and the fans made you what you are. So then there were people that didn't want Hulk Hogan to induct my brother. And I said, well, I've got 2 words for them, a verb and a pronoun. Right? Yeah. Okay, so, you know what? Okay, this guy hates that guy, everybody's mad at you forever for doing something. I'm 60 years old. I'd like to live to be 100 or die trying. And I would like to do it with a smile on my face and love in my heart, and I don't want to be mad at anybody. You know, you're all forgiven. I'm not perfect either. I thought Hulk Hogan gave a hell of a speech, am I right? And you know what? Maybe they didn't get along. Maybe they should have, or maybe my brother makes a mountain out of a molehill, or maybe there was something, maybe the intensity and the problem in this and Elizabeth or whatever. But you know what? Does it make any difference now? Does it make any difference to the fans? Why can't we just get along? Why can't we just induct him into the Hall of Fame and take the high road? Okay? So I thought it was March 28th was a good night, am I right? And the fans are finally happy? So let's all get along, okay? And I love Hulk. Do you realize what he did for me? I'm a jabroni. The only reason I'm here is because of that 4 months when he was the nucleus and I was the electron. Mwah. Thank you, Hulk. And for the height difference, that was his butt.
Who was the stiffest person you ever wrestled?
Probably Adam Sheik. Adam Sheik, we wrestled in Trinidad against each other because he was a Muslim and Trinidad is half population, half a Muslim. And they brought it down there. And we wrestled one of the hardest match I ever had. I wrestled 1 hour and a half on 114 degrees heat outside of a big stadium. And after we finished the match, man, I said, if I have another match like that, I'll quit.
What city?
Port of Spain.
Oh, yeah?
Port of Spain, I think. It was a long, long time ago. But it was a good match. If we come back the next day, same place, we sold it out again.
You mean Port of Spain, Haiti, or Spain?
No, Port of Spain, Trinidad.
Trinidad. Okay.
Trinidad, yeah. People couldn't believe it. We wrestled 1 hour and a half.
Oh, that's Port-au-Prince, I'm sorry.
Is it?
Port-au-Prince, Haiti, Port of Spain, Trinidad, you're right.
Yeah. I'm always right.
You're
I'm right here and I'm wrong. If you don't believe me, ask my wife.
Who's the toughest, you know what a shooter is, a real wrestler?
Yeah.
Who's the toughest shooter you ever wrestled?
One of the best wrestlers I ever wrestled was Bruno Sammartino, and your brother. But one of the toughest shooters I ever wrestled was Pat Patterson.
Pat Patterson?
Yeah. Did you ever know Pat Patterson?
Yeah.
He go behind you.
You hear that? If he gets behind you, you're done.
Oh, man.
He's gonna make you humble.
I have 2 kids here, I can say that.
How do you like how the wrestling's going on right now? The authority is running the wrestling. How do you like the storyline right now with the wrestling? How the authority is run, how the authority is doing the real show?
But
Also,
actually, you know,
and also,
I can tell you that. How you can say anything, anything wrong, but the biggest show on earth.
Yeah.
Wrestling was always the biggest drawing sport. There are more people here than football, than baseball, than any sport. All right. And today, wrestling do the same thing. They have the biggest show that I was in California. Did you go there already?
Yeah.
Because Bruno Sammartino was inducted. He didn't want to be inducted in too, but finally we talked him into to get inducted in the Hall of Fame. All right. They have 77,000 people.
And who's your top 2 wrestlers right now? Top wrestler right now. Who do you like?
I like John Cena. I like Russian guy too. Russian.
Yeah, he did like you did the flag. Now he did the flag.
Yeah. No, I did the old Russian flag. He did
No,
it.
but you came in always with the
Flag, yeah.
Now he came in raising your flag.
Not my flag. That's a new Russian.
His flag. I'm just saying he came in
Yeah,
raising your flag.
different, Yeah. But half the people today don't even know what the Russian flag look like. They all remember it. Circle and
But you know, like every night on television,
Yeah.
Monday night, what goes on? What's the best show on television right now? Monday Night Raw.
My night,
Every
yeah.
television,
25, what,
second
25
television.
years?
I guess.
Every second television in the family has
Yes.
wrestling.
About 4 years ago, I get a call from Joe Gomez from the WCW. Does anybody remember that name?
Oh, yeah.
He says, come on down to Florida Championship Wrestling. There's a guy there, Damian Sandow. He's taking your gimmick, but he wants your permission. And he wants to meet you. And he's a real nice guy. So I go down there, and everybody's there. Dusty Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat. I haven't seen some of these guys, Steve Kern. And there's Damian Sandow. And he says, Mr. Poffo? I said, Lanny. You know, I don't need respect, I want to be young. You know? What am I going to do with respect, you know? It's too late for that now, after you've been walking around like that. And he says, is it okay if I take your gimmick? I said, well, since I stole the gimmick from at least 10 people, I think you can have it. You know, because I'm certainly not the first person to press around the ring or wear a cap and gown. Writing the poems, that wasn't a gimmick, that was real. But that was the only thing that was real, okay? Everything else, I was just going for, not heat, but cheap heat, okay? So then, about a couple months ago, I get a phone call from Damien Sandow, and we become friends by this time, because every time, you know, he's a real nice person. And he says, what's that? He says, hey, they want me to do the Macho Man, and they want Curtis Axel to do Hulk Hogan. And he said he wanted, I said, all I can tell you is, since Randy's not here to give you permission, all I can say is,
Good luck.
Randy gave Jay Lethal permission to do Black Machismo, and Randy loved it. So I said, but he did a fantastic job, Jay Lethal. So I want you to put as much into it as you possibly can, and if you're going to do the Macho Man, do the best Macho Man you can do. He says, really? And I said, he thought it was the sincerest form of flattery, and the only thing I'm upset about is that you're going to stop imitating me. I feel important when a guy imitates me, you know? So anyway, who's got a good question that we haven't asked?
I can't promise it's a good question, but it's a question. It's yes or no. If you weren't involved in it at all, let me know. You're obviously great at poetry, and Randy, he did a rap album. I was wondering if at any point in the process he ever consulted with you to work out any of his
Yes.
his rap. I just wondered what the process.
That was a great question.
It was. I named it.
Yeah, what a question. Okay, here's the, Randy calls me up and he says, here's the deal. In the album, I want to do one for Kurt Hennig, and I want you to write it.
Perfect friend.
Don't make it long and boring, because you can be long and boring. I said, why don't I just do what I like and you can edit it, you know? So, but let me tell you what was bad with that album.
Nothing. Nothing was bad with that album.
Well, here's what was bad. He thought it was going to sell 50 million. Don't put this on YouTube, please. But he thought it was going to sell about 50 million. It wound up selling just a little bit over 50,000. And one of the critics was a little rude and hurt his feelings. He said it did a physiological impossibility. It sucked and blew at the same moment. And Randy took that to be insulting. I hope I don't get to see this again. Okay, so use it for your personal needs. Okay. So, you know, so that's when Randy decided to become a complete recluse. And no more, and the only time, listen, I would go to these indie shows and everybody would be so nice to me and they say, by the way, is there any chance we could get to your brother and everything? I said, yeah, okay, I'm the gatekeeper. You know, I understand. It doesn't bother me. I understand, you know, the Macho Man is my brother. I understand. Listen, if anybody remembers my name, it'll be because of his. So I am not jealous and I'm not unhappy. I just want to control. Okay, he didn't want to get in the Hall of Fame. But aren't you glad he is?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I'm glad I still have that rap album. I listen to it on a yearly basis. I actually, Perfect Friend was so nicely written. Of course, it makes sense.
Okay, but just tell these people that it neither sucked nor blew.
It sucked nor blew. I can confirm that.
Yeah. And if it did, it didn't swallow. Okay?
No.
No, I have another question.
You have a question?
Yeah, I have another question. But this is probably going to be more for you.
Nikolai.
Do you have any really good memories of Ilio DiPaolo?
Well, I met this about a long time ago, and that was when I come to this country, and my English background and speak English. And the Paolo helped me because he speaks Italian, I speak Italian. He helped me there. And he was a very nice man, old time and old school. And he had a restaurant. And I think he made one of the best pizzas in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Elio DiPaolo was my godfather. And when I wrestled in the auditorium in Buffalo, the Aud, anybody know the Aud?
Yeah.
Okay. I had this wrestling fan that I said, can you take me to Blaisdell, New York, where the restaurant is? Elio's. Is it, who's been to Elio's?
I used to work there.
Okay, is it Blaisdell?
Yeah, I used to work there.
Okay.
So,
So,
son there, right? Son running?
Dennis.
Yep.
Dennis?
Yep, Dennis and
Say-
Michael.
Tell him we said hello, okay?
I can do that.
So I go, so I go in there and I said, I am Angelo Poffo son. Elio DiPaolo is my godfather. She says, he's in the kitchen. Let's go see him. So this is big guy. You know, like, whoa, was he a big man? Oh, God. So he was like, I see the back of him, and he's got the sauce, and he's tasting it. You know, he's trying to figure out more oregano or whatever. You know, he's creating something. It's like Frankenstein in his science experiment. You know, and with the sauce. And so I said, I was trying to be respectful, but I said, Elio, my name's Lanny Poffo. I'm Angelo Poffo's son. You're my godfather. Lanny! and then he says, I'm going to see if you got a strong neck. So he does that thing. He's got hands second only to Andre the Giant, and he puts them here. And he says, let me see how strong your neck is. So, he's got fingers like bananas. So I think I flunked the neck strength test. But there was an old joke about you doing it against a wall, and then you let go and bam! You know, which is not funny. So don't try that at home. But he didn't do that. So in those days, we didn't have these bad boys, you know. So we went to a payphone. I called my dad, and I said, guess who I got? Elio DiPaolo. So they were on the phone for 15 minutes talking Italian. And, you know, it makes me feel good, you know. And the other guy did that in Portland, Maine, Jackie Nichols. Remember him?
Yes.
And it was like friends of my dad. So anybody that was a friend of my dad, I would put him on the phone. Because you say, hey, we'll keep in touch, and you never do. You see what I mean? But tomorrow is promised to no one. So if you're going to do something nice, do it today. Now is the time. The time is now. Yeah, questions? Are we done? Are we, what?
Howard, great question for you two.
Okay.
What made you decide to do wrestling, to start wrestling?
Well, if you start wrestling, it's good to start amateur wrestling in high school, you know. You have to stay healthy, work out, and never get hurt. Yeah.
Yes.
What do you guys think of Triple H potentially leaving the WWE, being Stephanie, after Vince?
I think Vince have to be dead.
Yeah. But you like Triple H though? You think he's going to do a good job?
Oh yeah.
After I gave my speech, a lot of people, you know, were very nice to me. I'll tell you, the next day, I felt a little bit lower off my mind, you know, because I knew I had one thing to do, and at WrestleMania, I didn't mind you know, the Miss America thing. I knew that was easy. I met some really great people. JBL is the nicest and most interesting person to have breakfast with. You know, and he was so funny. And then I met 3 girls that were each prettier in person than you saw on TV. I'm talking about Natalia Neidhart. I'm talking about, number 2 was Maria Menounos. She was wonderful. And believe it or not, Stephanie McMahon. You know, like, not the person she plays on TV at all. She was just wonderful. And unless I'm easy to bluff, you know, I am a one-time loser. Yeah. So, anyway, anybody? Yeah.
Imagine that, especially traveling through the States, your gimmick was very popular. That was your, you were a heel. Did you have a lot? Did you have any guys that kind of shot a little bit more than they should have, or took advantage of the heat you had in the ring?
You mean the people?
Well, the other wrestlers.
I can answer that.
Did you ever get into
I can answer that. I can answer that. He's very shy. He's very modest.
I'm sure he.
Nobody would dare shoot with Nikolai Volkoff. He's the strongest man in the world. No steroids. There he is. You know what he could do? He could break your back. And he's so gentle he won't. But if he had to, he can box, he can wrestle, he's an athlete. I mean, I'm not just blowing smoke here. I wouldn't have the guts to come up to you, you know, here you are 9 years my senior. You know, he's as strong as he looks, he'll break your back.
Because you were a.
Yeah, I was a European champion, right?
Nobody would dare.
Okay, just curious. I know sometimes that.
Well, I have one guy, I don't mention your name, but he was in Florida. You know Florida, right?
Oh, okay, I don't, yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, this guy wrestling, he liked to, you know, drink and smoke, you know, funny stuff. And he came to the ring one time like that.
Be careful, though, half this crowd is high.
That's what you get.
The other half voted for Stephen Harper.
Yeah. And he came to the ring, and he beat up a referee. Sonny Meyer, remember Sonny Meyer?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sonny Meyer, a nice man, and he beat him up. Then he come try to, it was a 6-man tag. He tried to beat up my partner, then he come try to beat up me. I said, listen, I said, if you know smart enough, I will knock you out. And he said, shut up, tried to push me away. I hit him 3 times, he was out.
He's a boxer and a wrestler, and one of the strongest men in the world, no juice. Anybody?
And the reason, I will tell you the reason why I never take steroids, because when I was a European weightlifting champion. I did 480 pounds clean and jerk. That's for the floor.
What'd you call me?
Oh yeah, top your head. That's a hard lift. You have to have a strong back, strong leg, and lots of good technique there. But when I come in the States, you know, I met Bruno Sammartino. He did the time 565 pounds bench press. He never took no steroids. He was always one of the nicest person I met, you know, I know him for a long time. And he's another Dago, right, Italian.
That's right.
Do you know why I call Italians Dago? They are like shoes, every place you go, they go.
Did you hear about the Italian prostitute? She never let a day go by.
And my grandmother was Italian. So when I come here in the United States, I could speak to him in Italian too. And he was
He's from Abruzzi.
Yeah, Abruzzi, yeah. So first time I come Madison Square Garden, we was talking over there, and I said to him, nice to meet you, sir, because I have your picture in my scrapbook. And he called me a sporcaccione. He said, Mamma mia, a sporcaccione. Now, sporcaccione, many of you know what it means, but in all Italian dialect, sporcaccione means like rascal, a dirty old man. I said to him, tanto grazie, signor Bruno. He said, wow.
Many thanks.
Yeah. This guy speaks Italian without accent. So we started talking and that became good.
Bruno came to this country when he was 13.
Yeah.
And if you saw his induction into the Hall of Fame, he grew up in horrible conditions of World War II.
Yeah.
Starving to death and everything. So he had to earn everything he got. He was nothing handed to Bruno, right?
Yeah, he almost died. He got, there was hiding up in the mountains and somebody reported to German. German come try to shoot him off. And his mother says, son, you know, we will see God very soon. And then our Italian partisan come and kill the German, that's why he survived. That's why he was always close to his mother. His mother and his father both lived to be over 94 years old.
Okay, we're almost done. Does anybody have a question that is so important? What?
Nikolai, how did you enjoy singing? Like when you did Cara Mia on the first wrestling album, or when you sang the Russian national anthem all the time?
Well, it was okay. It was okay. The only Cara Mia, they gave me 10 minutes to learn and sing it. I recorded it. I did a great job.
Why don't you finish by singing something that's near and dear to your heart, not that song, but something that you love.
Yes. The Russian national anthem?
Yes. For old time's sake.
For old time's
I'll
sake.
salute it.
How many, I heard sing the song like this. Jimmy Paul.
Союз нерушивий, припомни свободный, златила навеки великая Русь. Да здравствує свободный волі народу, ныне могучий Советский Союз. Слава отчество наше свободное, дружный народом, недружный оплот, земля народная, земля свободная, паста победы, победы ведет.
That national anthem was changed after Lenin took over, and now today when communism is gone, now they have still the same old one national anthem. Yeah, they still cannot.
Did anybody get missed? Anybody have an emergency question?
Do either of you guys have any Roddy Piper stories you can share with us?
I do.
Piper was very nice and polite guy. He actually over nice polite, isn't it?
You know what? I'm going to say this without crying a little bit. In 1977, I started working for Don Owen in Portland, Oregon. 2 weeks after I got there, Roddy Piper came in. I thought to myself, this guy is more entertainment for your dollar in his interviews and his work than anybody I've ever seen. He was just all over the place. And the poor guy was already beat up. And he would tape himself up and get out there and, you know. And then about a month goes by, and I thought the world of him. And he came up to me and he said, Lanny, I think you got some talent. If you want, I'm not going to force you, but I would like to call the promoter from Los Angeles, Mike LaBelle, and I think you would be a great heel against the Guerreros. And I said, really? Wow. I mean, yes, call him. So Mike LaBelle calls me up and he says, talk to me on the phone for an hour. And in this business, some people help you, some people don't. You know, and most people don't. But Mike LaBelle says, Lanny, Roddy Piper's like a son to me. And if he says you got what it takes, we're going to bring you in and we're going to give you every opportunity. I said, wow, thank you. And you know, the great thing about it is I speak Spanish. So I could insult the people, you know, the Guerreros on television, which is critical if you're going to do something. So, unfortunately, my parents and my brother were starting the ICW Opposition to the World situation. I had to call Mike LaBelle back. I had to apologize to Roddy Piper. But I tell you this, I'll answer any question you got. But anybody knocks Roddy Piper, I'll walk out. How do you like that? I will walk out. Don't you ever criticize Roddy Piper to me. Because very few wrestlers do that, you see. And he's like special. So anyway, I get a little excited from it. So is it all gone? Is it over?
I have one last question. What was your best match you ever wrestled?
Okay. As Leaping Lanny, the best match I ever wrestled was against Bob Orton Jr. And you know, I lost the match, but I looked better than if I would beat Barry Horowitz. Okay? And you know, sometimes it's the battle, not the decision. And of course, as the genius, the best match was against Hulk Hogan on NBC. So I was lucky enough to have a good guy and a bad guy persona. Some people have neither. Some people have one or the other. But before we went to the WWE, my best match was against the Macho Man, because all I did was listen. Otherwise, it's going to be real dead for you.